All right, so I just click the button and we go live?
Yeah, that's at least what I think is how it works.
That's how it works. Well, if it's Tuesday, that can mean only one, Mike. I don't know. How many years have we been doing this? If it's Tuesday, it can mean only one thing, and it is time for Comic Book School Live, the show about the craft and business of making comics. If you are an established creator and you want to level up your game, if you're breaking in and just want to know a little bit more about comics or the craft and business, we are the show to be on at Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's probably better shows than us, Mike, but this is the show that you get.
Yeah, there's probably better intros than that as well.
There's probably much better intros, but tonight we're not going to get a guest much better than the one that we have tonight. Oh, the detective is here. Thank you, detective. We are happy to see you. Yep. And we can start. So we did hit the button. And I didn't even play the pre-roll anymore. Hey, Victor. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while.
Oh, we got
Ismail is here. Wow. And people are piling in.
Oh man, we got Andrew
here. They're just piling in. What was Gatilla saying?
I was watching the Devo doc on Netflix. It's kind of blah. I don't.
So
know.
He just said he was like, forget this. I'll watch.
Yeah, he'll come and watch us instead.
He was Comic Book School Live. Mike, we're gonna first get into the show in a minute with our guest Paula Sevenbergen. She even told me how to pronounce it, and as soon as I said it, I messed it up. But we're gonna tell them who we are. Mike, who are you?
Yeah, Mike Fasolo, Emmy winner, Annie winner, blah blah, screenwriter. You know, the whole thing, the same spiel it is every week.
Were you able to even hear me? Because I didn't even have my microphone near me.
You were a little distant, but that's okay.
I have that sort of effect on people. I'm a little distant.
Now you're much better.
Difficult to get close to. Hey, welcome to Comic Book School Live. I'm here with Mike Fasolo, 3-time Emmy Award-winning, 2-time Annie Award-winning screenwriter and comic book writer. Mike, where's your button? You usually have the applause.
Oh, I didn't click on my.
Your applause game is a little.
Sorry, hang on. Do it again.
Mike Fasolo, 3-time Emmy Award-winning, 2-time Annie Award-winning screenwriter, plus comic book writer. Oh, look at go ahead, pull that up. Pull up Andrew's comment.
I see now you got me going on the
Here, I'll do it. Here you go. Oh, you got yay. And then Mike the Emmy Fasolo. There you go.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that.
That's it. And then Mike, I am a comic book writer with many years of writing comics, educational materials. Got my start with you at wizardworld.com. I'm a award-winning comic book writer. I'm an educator and a marketing technologist. But enough about us. We have an exciting guest to get to tonight. Mike, please. Oh, wait, before we do that, if you are not yet subscribed to our show, Mike has been updating nearly daily videos. Mike, you're on a tear. You're
on a tear. You told me last week to get on a tear, so I got on a tear.
It's like you're taking this seriously.
I know.
The number of shorts that you have are incredible. Look at this.
I do what I can.
You're doing it well, Mike. That's it. No applause or anything.
Oh, sorry.
All right, we'll just go. All right, get the applause ready for Paula. Mike, let's just welcome our guest and our friend, Paula Sevenbergen. Paula, welcome to the show. Sorry for all the mishaps. We will do better throughout the show. Mike, do a big cheer for Paula.
Big cheer.
Do the big one.
There we go.
Wow, that was big. Thank you, Paula. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're super excited to have you. You're awesome and well accomplished. You have written for television with some 27 credits for Stargirl, some sort of unlikeminded sci-fi audio podcast, a Washington Post article that I can endorse all day about dating shorter men. Love it, the short man. I think that this should be spread virally as much as possible. But we met you when you were at Wizard magazine. We'll chat about that. You have a long list of credits for DC Comics, Batman, Wonder Woman, Femme Magnifique. I can't even say that right. Stargirl, Mad Magazine, and I guess real journalism bust, the F word, feminism. Paula, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hang on. Let me get hang on. Here we go. There we go. Wait a minute. There it is.
Okay.
Paula, just real quick, just by way of orientation, you worked at Wizard with us, not directly with me at the same time, but I did know who you were. What years did you work at Wizard?
it was the early 2000s, so long ago. It was it was interesting. I I think I might have been the first woman editor, a female editor.
Is that true? Really?
I believe so. There were others soon after, but I walked into this crazy environment full of passionate, kind, awkward guys, and
Awkward. A lot of awkward.
a lot of passion. And it was cool. And I have so many friends from that time.
And were you a journalist or an editor? Because you came into the editorial department, right?
Were any of us really journalists? I don't know.
That's being very kind.
Yeah, no, I was an editor. And editors did a little bit of writing there as well. But yeah, I think I was an associate editor, and I worked a lot on Toy Fair, Toy Wishes. I was hired for a children's magazine that lasted for about 5 minutes. So
that's longer than some of the Wizard magazines. So that's pretty. So you moved out here did you move specifically from the Midwest to go work at Wizard?
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
No, I was looking to move to New York. I was looking for a job, a magazine job, and Doug Goldstein interviewed me on the phone first. I had sent in some movie reviews I'd written for a local paper and a couple national magazine articles that I had written. One of my movie reviews was actually for Fight Club. So it's funny that I got those figures later, but at working at Toy Fair. But yeah, and then they flew me out. I had a second interview, and I moved soon after.
Well, you know what I always find is funny is people are move, and more than just you, other people, McLaughlin and Sean, not Sean, Sven,
Lars Pearson.
Lars Pearson. I'm mixing up my Norwegian names.
Hey.
Lars Pearson moved from the Midwest. They were like, I want to get to New York, and they hit Congers, which is kind of not the big city,
right? I was warned on the phone. We're not in New York City, right? We are north of the city, and I'm like, close enough for me. I can
close enough. Yeah, it was close enough. But you used your time at Wizard, and I think then you went to DC Comics. Yes.
No, I worked for some women's magazines. So yeah, I was editing a lot of copy editing, writing an advice column for a women's magazine while I was also a copy chief. So yeah, I had respectable day jobs, working on other people's writing, editing other people's writing, and then doing my own writing on the side. And then after all that, a couple of different magazines, then it was DC.
And then, so I did not realize, I don't know if you knew this, Mike, how many comics that you have authored. I know that you edited Mad Magazine for a while, but I didn't realize you had so many writing credits.
Yeah, I've written for Mad several times, and believe it or not, Mad is still publishing some new content. So they took a break, and they were running reprinted articles under a theme with a new cover, and often a new cover and then a new fold in the back. And then a year ago, they started running some new material again. So some people don't know that, but I am still helping to edit Mad.
How cool is that? Now, I just want to talk about the greatest service to mankind. As a man who, I'm not short, I'm just under height a little bit for my weight, Paula. Okay. But what is this?
Well, yeah, I just had a fun time writing this essay. I have friends who I love that you're so into this. I'm
a short man. I married a tall woman. My wife's much taller than me.
Oh, excellent. Okay. All right. So I have friends, even to this day, who they are comfortable being successful in their careers. They're comfortable earning more money than a man earns, or their partner earns, but they refuse to date a guy shorter than they are. And so it's weird that it's like this last taboo for some people. And I just find that fascinating. So I had to I had to write about it.
You spoke about it, and I read it, and it was wonderful. And right now it's gated behind Washington Post. But if you can find it and you subscribe to the Washington Post, it's a heartwarming story, and I encourage people to read it. Now, you also had quite the run here on Stargirl. What was this all about, Paula?
Well, Mr. Jeff Johns created this show based on a character he wrote about for DC, and the character was inspired by his late sister, and so many people loved the character, and they created a show, and it was a great experience. I mean, it ran for 3 seasons, and it was just a show that had a lot of heart and a lot of action too, but yeah, and it had a nostalgic quality to it that I think a lot of people liked too. So yeah, it was great. And Luke Wilson starred in it, Brett Bassinger.
So 27, you worked on 27 episodes. Did they take a leaf blower and just blow $100 bills at you and you just caught as much money as you could? Is that how that works in Hollywood?
Oh my God. No, I'm not sure what you've heard.
That's what Mike told me. He said
I tell him a lot of stories about how much they pay you in Hollywood. Most of them are lies, just to make Buddy feel better, but
Gotcha.
Or worse.
So better or worse?
Worse.
Well, maybe if you're an Emmy award-winning writer for a
3-time Emmy award winning. Don't take Emmys away from Mike. 3 Emmys.
Yeah.
But you wrote for television. That has to be like an amazing experience and probably a great learning experience as a writer. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It was a little surreal. It was a dream I never dared dream. I mean, I always wanted to be a writer since I was a child. That kind of writer, I just never dared to think about. And I got lucky and got on a show. And that was so educational. Being in a writer's room, especially when you're with people who have been on major shows, who've got tons of experience, you go in there first year and it's so intimidating and it's hard to even speak up in the room. At least for me, it was. And so while I was being terrified, I was also being inspired and educated. And I did learn a lot about storytelling. And to this day, when I'm sitting alone in a room writing stories, which many people do, I hear voices because I'm crazy probably, but I also hear voices from the room just reminding me of some storytelling principles. And I say principles loosely because I don't know if there are real hard and fast principles. I think there are a lot of ways to go about it, but things that I just learned that are helpful even when I'm alone in a room.
So, Mike, I have a question for you because you are, all kidding aside, a successful television writer. It's a pretty big deal to be on a show and have written 27 episodes. Am I right? This is like, no, don't say that.
No, I wrote a handful of episodes, but I got a credit on a lot of the episodes just because I was a story editor one season and an executive story editor another season. So everyone's contributing to all of the episodes. Everyone in the room is kind of chipping in and making the story happen. So you get credit, but as far as actually sitting down and writing the script, that only happens on a certain number of episodes.
But still a pretty big deal, right, Mike? This is a big deal.
Yeah, getting in a room is difficult to do. You got to really know what you're doing. You have to, be able to sit down and work with a bunch of other people. I don't know how many people were in the Stargirl room, probably 10?
Around there, close.
Yeah.
Is it a pressure cooker? Or people like chain smoking cigarettes, yelling at each other? Like, what's going on?
I've heard of rooms like that. Yeah. But no, there was no smoke. There's a lot of hot chocolate, a lot of sugar, I guess. Not too much yelling. It was a pretty friendly room.
That sounds actually better than I thought it would. I was hoping for some yelling and some smoking, and now you have this. What was this? Unlikeminded, a sci-fi audio project?
Yeah, my friend Robbie Hines started that podcast, and it's just sci-fi short stories. it's great. It's just another way to use your creativity to tell one of your stories in a short form, without relying on too many other people to do it. But some talented voice actors work on this too.
So we actually have a legitimate question here from the audience. Mike, we want to read that out from Blank Stare?
Blank Stare is like, were you the only new writer in the room?
I was not, thankfully. There was one other first-year writer with me, and he and I did rely on each other a lot to get through that first year, because it is, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Hot chocolate. That sounds too wholesome for a writer.
It was too wholesome. That was just in the rooms, but leaving the room, often there was alcohol.
Lots and lots of alcohol.
And Paula, is it okay if I out you for a question that you asked us before the show?
Oh God, I don't know, buddy.
She asked us how much cursing was allowed on this show.
I did.
She did. She was like, "How much cursing can we do on this show?" I'm like, "You can curse all you want."
Just in case there's a slip. I wasn't expecting to just like go all out.
That'd be funny if she just went off on this.
Just a tirade of swearing.
Right.
But Mike, give us some context. Like, what is it? How huge of a deal is this? Because I always thought this was a pretty big deal working on a show that was actually on the TV box.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, because you can't just walk into any room and be like, "Hi, I want to be a writer," and they immediately put you on staff. You have to, show, your past work. They have to approve that. They got to see that you can write. They got to know that you can tell a story, and especially deal with the characters that are already established or even being established. So it's not like, it's an easy thing to do. You have to know what you're doing, and they have to see that you know what you're doing.
So you have to have talent and skill, and you have to work well with others.
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed you put that in air quotes, buddy.
Yeah, well, I don't want to have to do it myself. I don't want to, like, you might have talent and skill you work well with others, but Mike and I don't.
I work well with others. I don't have any.
Work well with others. Mike is famously a person. What were you, the personality hire?
No, I was yes, but I was kept on at Wizard. This is probably before you were there, Paul. I was kept on at Wizard because I was good for morale.
Good for morale.
I was actually told that in a room that I was good for morale. Other than that, I would have been let go.
So you can curse like a sailor, they said, and then Gatilla is encouraging you to let it rip, let out a good effer. It'll be a show first. That's true. No one's given us that. Mike is good for morale.
Mike is definitely good for morale. Yes.
Yeah, and Seth Green did drop the F-bomb about a week or two ago.
Oh, he did. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
We deleted it. We edited it out later.
The
censors. So our show doesn't.
Okay, I'll try to leave the F-bomb out of it. But Mike, I believe that you are good for morale still. But I do remember going to lunch with a crew of people at Wizard, and you were in the crowd, and you were always fun.
Yeah, man of the people. That's me.
Yeah, I know.
Ever heard anybody? If you say you don't like Mike Fasolo, the problem is you.
Oh, for sure. I don't recall anyone not liking Mike there.
I don't recall any. Well, no, there were a couple of people in high school that don't like me.
Well, at Wizard, I will say at Wizard. And also we're semi-mature too, like that, which said a lot there too.
Sort of.
It was very. It was fun, but also a little bit. I don't know, like people were eating pizza in the bathroom, in the men's room. There was some occasional, I guess you would call it non-professional.
Oh, the entire office, for the most part, I would say was about 80% non-professional.
Yeah.
Paul, I made the transition from Wizard to a corporate pharmaceutical job. Where casual was taking your blazer off and hanging it on the back of the chair. So it was quite the transition for me. It was not easy. Yeah,
I can imagine. I remember distinctly asking what the dress code was during my interview at Wizard, and they said if you are dressed, you are meeting the code. So
that was good.
That was good. Oh, we got another question. Have you ever worked on a TV show that was adapted from a comic?
Yes, Stargirl actually was adapted from a comic, by Jeff Johns. So, and a lot of the characters well, all of the characters came from the comic. I think a few scenarios might have, but otherwise it's the room is together creating the story, the seasons.
Well, you know what? Speaking of comics, Paula, you have a comic book that is coming out. This is the screenshot from the Mad Cave website. Apparently, you can pre-order it. It is coming out in September. Can you give us a lay of the land, because we're going to be diving into flow and your creative process with it, so people understand what the story is about, and the creative team as well.
Sure. Yeah. So Flow is a series that I created with my co-creators doing the art. And it is about a girl who is at a nature camp, summer camp, sleepaway camp. That's a nature camp. And she is a very sheltered girl raised by a father who homeschooled her. And she gets her first period while she's at camp. And she's terrified. And her bunkmates say, well, it's called the curse, and we can lift it if you do everything we say. And then they proceed to torment her for a week. And then they end up cursed themselves 10 years later.
Ooh.
I got a little chill when you said that. When I read the description, and then you said it, it sounded a lot more like Stephen King-ish.
Oh, more menacing? Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
all right. I don't get called menacing often, so I love it. Yeah, so it's drawn by Claudia Balboni, who's wonderful. Fabi Marquez did the coloring, and Jody Troutman is for the series.
So we have some art from this, but I think what you've done is shown how effectively a high concept can break through the noise. I think the combination of the title, which is evocative once you know what it is, and the description is a really solid understanding of how editors think. So having been in rooms where you've pitched, having been in rooms where you've been pitched, how did that inform how you put your pitch together for Mad Cave?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I've read a lot of comics. I know comic book editors. I myself have been pitched to being an editor at Mad Magazine even, and publishing short comics in that sometimes. So, editors are very busy people. They want you to get to the point, but they do want as much of a sense of the story as possible. And so I first did a one-sheet pitch, which really just broke down, like you said, the high concept, very short log line, what genre it is, then a little bit more about the story and the characters, but still keeping it pretty tight. And then a why now paragraph, because sometimes I think that helps sell it. If you can say why now, why this story, why should you take this story now? Why should it be published now? I think it can be helpful. It can lend a certain a feeling of immediacy, like, oh, we're not going to sleep on this. Let's do this. And my why now was I had been reading and hearing headlines about politicians wanting to cut sex ed from schools, and in particular, not talk about menstruation in schools. They didn't want 6th grade girls or 5th grade girls talking about this in school. And they thought it's a parent's job to do that. And a lot of times, parents don't do that, or they don't feel comfortable doing that. And I'm like, this is a basic biological thing that it just happens to half of the population, so I'm not sure what the big scary thing about this is. But then, it inspired a little bit of a scary story for me.
Wow. See, I think, Mike, that's the problem with our pitches. We don't give it any context as to why they should select our pitch over, say, someone more talented like Paula.
Next time we should do that. We'll put it in a why section. And then when we get rejected, we'll be like, well, okay, that didn't help.
That didn't help. We get Paula back on. We're like, that totally didn't work.
Yes, blame me, please.
Mike, it looks like, what is it? Andrew did we pull up Andrew's?
Andrew had an editing question. Yeah. What are some errors that you typically come across when editing?
Jeez. What doesn't? What doesn't come up?
Typos, everything.
Yeah. I mean, typos are the least of it, I guess. But I think the biggest error would be if you don't follow through on what you pitched or what you were assigned to do, right? I mean, sometimes we're inspired by an idea and then we sit down to do it and we don't quite follow through. And if an editor gets something like that, that's a big problem.
Are you talking directly to me?
If it fits, buddy, then
It did fit in one time. I was inspired during the writing, and I changed the story, and my editor was none too pleased. So I've made every mistake there is, Paula. So we can just list them alphabetically, numerically. I've made the mistake. Any other authentic questions, Mike, or can we keep going?
We can keep going.
We can keep going. All right, Paula, we're going to keep going. So, all right, so we have the setup for flow. We're going to, excuse me, talk about writing and editing. What you've shared with us is a script page and then process pages. Do you want to set this up for us? I guess I'll zoom into the words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so basically, this is the first page of issue 1 script, and you both talk about writing comics on here all the time. So, I mean, I'm sure this looks like nothing too unique, but you start out with the panel description, and I might be a writer who gets a little too in the weeds with the panel descriptions. I'm not sure. I know there are many ways to go about this, and I probably get a little too controlling or too descriptive. Some writers just keep it super bare bones, especially if they know the artist they're working with. Then they can spitball it together verbally, or they just let the artist run with it, and so there are many ways to do this. And I think it really just depends on who you're working with, who the publisher is, what your style of creative process is. But here's mine, for better or worse. So I get pretty descriptive, and and then you break it down into the captions, and I do, again, this is not unique, but I'm always aware of page turns, right? Like, you have to be aware of those odd number pages and how you leave them, and maybe not every single odd number page is going to be leave you in suspense, but hopefully a lot of them do.
Well, you did. You left that page turn mystery, Mo narration cap, what we did to her, and it makes you go like, well, what did they do to her?
Right.
Yeah. Actually, it was a genuine question here, authentic question.
Yeah. How many drafts do you typically write before you have a finished script? And does it differ between TV scripts and articles?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Paula, answer that, would you?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think the first thing I did for this comic series, before actually starting to write an issue, is to break down the whole series, and kind of just roughly get a sense of what's going into each issue, right? So once you do that, then you have a guide and you have a loose outline for that first issue. So by that point, you don't have to do too many drafts. At least I didn't. I think I only did maybe two or three drafts of the first issue.
And I think, when you were walking, and this is just me projecting, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. When you walk into Stargirl, you've got an established universe, what everybody looks like, what the worlds look like. I find that when I'm writing a story, the first couple of pages, particularly as I'm setting up the world, are much more descriptive. Maybe by, I don't know how many, there's 3 or 4 issues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to then be maybe a little less descriptive in your panels, in your sometimes just trusting the artist more because now you have this relationship. You know how each other thinks. Is that how that works for you as well?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, issue 1 script is always more descriptive. And also the artist does character designs, right? Mm-hmm. So they take what they know from you or what they also envision, how they think the character might be dressed, assuming you didn't give all of that, whatever they want to add to it. Sometimes they create most of how a character looks. Again, it all just depends on how the writer works and how the artist works. But yeah, there are character designs, and then once those are set and approved, you don't have to go through as many physical descriptions and things like that in later scripts.
One of the things I'd like to call out when I was looking at this, the fact that you've included some reference in there. I do that all the time as well, where I'm like, okay, this is the warehouse. Just draw. You don't have to make it up. And I'm not going to spend 4 paragraphs describing what a warehouse looks like because it look like so many things. Yeah. How do you use reference to ensure that you capture maybe the environment or the look, or in this case, maybe the angle that you're looking for?
Yeah, just tack them on to the end of the script is what I do. Sometimes it's just a web link, or sometimes I put the actual picture that I was referring to right there in the script. It's immensely helpful, I think, for an artist to have those visual aids. And the person asked how this differs from revising like a TV show script. There are so many revisions on a TV episode. So many. I mean, because you have a showrunner and they revise. They help you revise, and then they revise, and then the studio gives notes and you revise again. And then there are probably more notes from the studio and you revise again. And then, of course, even when it gets to the stage of filming it, it's still being changed. There are just so many.
Yeah. That sounds awful.
Yes. Lots of.
But when they're blowing all that money at you.
Yeah, with the leaf blower. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That helps.
We got another one. So you know how many issues are in the story before you write the first issue? Is it similar to planning page turns?
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. At least for me, I mean, at least with a creator-owned series, you're calling the shots, or you're calling the shots with your publisher. It's not like writing a Batman series, and I think sometimes if it's going well, they might keep it going, but there are still arcs that begin and end, right? So you know how the arc will be paced, and you do want to pace it with as much suspense as possible, just like the page turns. Yeah. So the end of each issue should be ending in suspense, right? So that the person wants to pick up the next one.
What's your take on, I'm going to go back here. You've worked on other people's properties where there's a lot of rules established, and then you work on your own property where you make up all the rules. What do you find more appealing, and why? Do you prefer to work within the swim lanes and then be creative there, or do you prefer to say I've got a blank canvas and I make everything up?
Yeah, each has their pros and cons, right? But I prefer working on original material. Part of this is because I think those Batman, Wonder Woman, like those revered characters are just, they have so many fans. They're giant fan bases, and they have high expectations. And if you don't meet those expectations, you're going to hear about it. And obviously that's part of being a writer. You have to have a thick skin, and you have to take the good comments and the bad. But there's just so much expectation there. And I mean, but it's also a great challenge. And those characters are so amazing. And it's a privilege, really, to get to play with those toys, to play with DC's toys, to put it one way. So that I don't take lightly that I got to tell some really cool stories with some great characters. But I think I prefer working on original material.
Why?
It's more terrifying in its own right, because you are starting with a really blank slate. And so it's a lot of work, but I think that you're making the rules. And I just love the challenge of making all of the rules.
What about you, Mike? Would you prefer working on licensed or creator owned?
I guess it depends on the license. Like if I truly love the property, I'd probably want to work on that. But generally I would say, my own personal stuff, original.
So Paul, I'm going to challenge something you said earlier. You said something that was interesting. You get the comments from, maybe I'm going to paraphrase and correct me where I'm wrong in my paraphrasing, but you get the feedback from the fans, good and bad. And you have to take that. I would argue you don't. In fact, as a creator, I don't look at comments anymore. I think that the anonymous internet used to be a lot kinder, and now it's very crass. And so I would argue, and you don't have to agree with me, or even say, you can say this isn't what I meant by that, but I just think I don't look at it anymore because it's so it can be crushing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, agree. It could be, depending on your personality, I think it can be debilitating if you let it. But and if you believe, I think if you take the compliments to heart, you also end up taking the criticisms to heart, right? If you're letting in others' opinions that much, it's going to be both. So it's probably not wise to do either.
Well, I'm going to create an AI that only sends me the positive comments and then turns the negative ones into sort of like, oh, he's fat and short, but still charming in his own way. Like I'm going to just use AI to make myself feel better so I don't have to improve.
I'm not going to endorse AI here.
Is that a good plan though? Is that a good plan? Maybe it's not AI. Maybe
I think it's a good plan for you, bud.
It is a good plan for me, and my level of success is pretty evident as compared to Paula's, which is significant. Okay, so you have this blank slate. So we're on this first page, page 1, panel 1. Talk about what you needed to accomplish on this in setting up your story, creating the page turn urgency, and also how you basically choreographed this page. Can you just talk about what you've done here?
Yeah, page 1 of the first issue is it's a lot of pressure, right? Because you not only want to set up something that's intriguing enough to get people to keep reading, but you also are establishing main characters, or at least a main character. You want to have enough here to sink your teeth into, but if you get too complex, it's a turnoff, right? So you want to have enough substance without cramming in too much. You don't want to have, there are always exceptions to the rules, but I think you want to have a little bit of breathing space as well and not overwhelm the reader when they look at that first page.
So as you've written this first page, was this first scene one of the things that was echoing in your head as a scene? I know that as Mike and I do a lot of writing together, and sometimes we'll write to a scene that we want to get to, or there's a scene that really resonates. This one seems like it was something that was not just to build the story, but it seems like something that was part of what was your framing for what you wanted to accomplish.
Oh, good. I'm glad it seems that way, because that's true. Actually, I have a little ravine behind my house, and I find it kind of intimidating. And I say that as someone who's lived in New York City and lived in LA, and I always lived in apartments or condos so to live in a house with a ravine in the back is in itself just a little bit weird for me. But then, like, occasionally deer step out of the ravine, and I'm sitting writing or watching TV, and I just see, like, out of the corner of my eye, I see movement. And so I look out the window, and there's this, giant deer standing there. And that's really creepy to me. As lovely as I think deer are, it's creepy. And so one day thought I saw movement, and I looked out and there was no deer, but I just imagined this like girl walking out with blood. And that's essentially that girl.
Ooh, she's good at this thing, huh, Mike?
Yes, I see that. That would freak me out.
Yeah, I got the little chill. That's the second time you gave me a chill in this.
Those blinds would be closed constantly.
Yeah, I'd move out. Right. Yeah. All right. So you do this setup, and your artist is giving you the rough here. How much feedback are you giving before you go into the next stage of finished art?
Yeah, I mean, she really nailed it here, at least as I was envisioning it. She nailed it. And I say that, but I don't want it to seem like the artist has to do everything exactly as I describe it, because that makes me sound like a control freak, for one. But also because the artist knows best sometimes, even if you sat down, you wrote this, you made up these characters, you have the scene in your head, but sometimes you get the layout or the pencil, the inks, or not the inks, but before that, usually you'll get it and it looks just totally different. The panel looks different than what you described. And I admit there are times where I'm like, oh, wait a second, this isn't how I saw this. Like, do I like this? But the point is that the artist got the emotion across, got what needed to happen across, and oftentimes better than what you envision as the writer. And so that's when it's kind of magical. It's when your artist makes it better.
Well, and I don't know if you called for this, and it didn't look like in the description, and I might get this wrong, Mike, so you might have to correct me. Is this a Dutch angle where they kind of take the horizon and tilt it a little bit to show that something is slightly askew? Is that what that's?
I don't know. I'm part Dutch, and I've never heard that. I'm learning something here.
I've never heard of a Dutch angle either.
All right. Well, thank goodness the internet is here with us. Let them hit the Googles and the Wikipedia. It looks like we have a real question.
Yes. Is it more challenging working with artists on a comic or with other writers in a writer's room?
Ooh, wow. That's a great question. Challenging. I think the writer's room might be a little more challenging. There are so many voices, and you have to, if you have an idea that you really think it should be heard, sometimes you're talking over voices. You're fighting your way in there, which can be intimidating.
Yes. Our buddy Andrew in Australia says the blank page is his mortal enemy, and it usually defeats him. Come on, Andrew.
I understand, Andrew. I totally get that.
Isn't it amazing that Andrew is in Australia right now and we're doing this live? It never ceases to amaze me, that and Mike's accent, his Australian accent.
Crikey.
Both are. Redheaded Ed said that yes, that was a Dutch angle. And Andrew Campbell threw in that he's heard of a Dutch oven, which I believe is a totally different thing.
Detective Seabury says yes, Dutch angle is an X-axis tilt.
So that's the X-axis tilt, and that is used as a technique to show that something is off. So the horizon being tilted pulls in the drama of your scene, Paula, and of course the angle that was selected by the artist got as much impact out of that panel as possible.
For sure, yeah, exactly.
And I don't like panel breaks typically, but this one worked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mike, anything else before we go on to the next?
No, let's move on.
Let's keep it going. All right. So we like to show the process, and Paula, you were awesome. Sent us some process. So now we've moved into what? This is inks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's all there. It's exciting when you get the inks and you see the people looking like people, right? You see the characters coming to life. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the inks are quite detailed here. If you look at the roughs, once the artist moves into inks, it's really quite detailed. And then you've got I guess some maybe marker washes, and they're putting in the shadows here that were suggested, but then the shadows come in and really give you some placement. And then, of course, you've got multiple planes. So you've got an extreme foreground, you've got a midground, and you've got a background, and then you've got a deep background. So your artist clearly, what's the artist name?
The artist is Claudia Balboni.
Yeah, Claudia Balboni clearly knew what was going on. And did she also ink it?
She did.
Yeah,
Yes.
tremendous. It's just tremendous. So then after inks, we get colors, which it's like Wizard of Oz comes on and it's colored. And these colors are tremendous. And who is your colorist?
Fabi Marquez.
And Fabi obviously is looking at light sources. You can see the light source from the sun over here, casting the darker green on the grass. You can see that light source being consistent with the poles. The light source is not on these posts, but once your colorist is done, those light sources are coming in. This was really impressive stuff. The most colorists might not do this level of finding the light source. Hold on to this colorist, or pass Fabi along to me and Mike, because we want Fabi to color our comic, of which many we've had rejected already from Mad Cave. If they're watching, just know that you've rejected all of our pitches so far. Go ahead.
Yes, as the creator, do you storyboard the pages or do any of the character design?
I just describe what I'm seeing in my head, and then they go to town. The artists go to town with it.
And then what is this?
But you have to start cleaning on the second page of the document instead of the first. I don't know what Glenn's talking about.
Start cleaning?
Yeah, I don't know. Glenn always says comments that don't make any sense.
But then later, sometimes when you just go into bed, you're like, oh my God, that was the funniest joke. So you might get it later, Paula, and you'll be like, oh my God, that guy was so funny.
Got it. Yeah.
I wonder what the time it takes to draw the rough versus the fully rendered work.
I mean, that's a good question for the artist. I wish she could answer that.
Well, yeah, then we don't have to wonder.
We'll get her on the show and she can answer.
Okay. So beautiful transition here. Also, some additional pages here showcasing that the beautiful work on page 1 carries through. I don't know if I got them in order, but then you throw the lettering on, and lettering, of course, is an art form in and of itself. And it looks like you got a winner of a letterer as well, who really understands how to guide the eye across the page. But do you, when you're working with an indie like Mad Cave, are you doing the lettering blocking the way you would have done with DC? Is it the same thing? You get your pages and then you draw your balloons and you number them, or what?
I just do it all in the script. I just kind of like I would in a TV script. I mean, just labeling the character and the dialogue specifically.
And then you're carrying through, and again, the light sourcing, the coloring, just really good stuff. And this panel really pulls through the visual. I think you got a winner on your hands here, Paula.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And my opinion matters, Mike, right?
Obviously.
Yeah, clearly we've been rejected 5 times from Mad Cave. So
yeah, at least.
And we're not bitter. We're not bitter.
You can tell it's not bothering you at all.
Or it does things like I said, I only want to read the good comments about our work. Anyway, Paula, so I think we're going to just say when this comes out. Oh, you were going to give us an overview of screenwriting versus TV writing. So people can check this out. I'm going to go right back up to the top. We're going to just reinforce that this is ready for pre-order. You go into your comic shop and you demand that they shelve Flow.
Yes, Flow. The final order cutoff is August 25th, so it's coming right up. And then the book is available September 17th.
All right, so they have to demand it. All right, so you were kind enough to also pull together something that we rarely get to see. This is on the left, the script for your comic, and then on the right, what are we looking at?
Yeah, you guys had asked for just a little bit of a script, a screenplay. something for TV. And this is not something that was actually made. This is a pilot I wrote. I've written a few, and this is really just something that has served as a sample for me to get meetings and just to kind of see what I can do. But there aren't tons of things different about a TV pilot script from a comic book script. Really, it's just a lot of it is just in the formatting. And there's a little bit less visual description because, with TV, you're going to have many people bringing it to life. And you also don't want to limit like who could play these characters. You don't want to say, well, unless it's very important to the story, you don't need to give super detailed physical descriptions because that could really limit who others envision for these roles, right?
Mike, you've written a lot of these.
I've written a lot of these, yeah.
You have written a lot of these. How's Paula's? Pretty good, better than yours?
Yours is good, yeah, much better than mine, obviously.
Yeah, she's pretty good. But yeah, I think what's interesting is, check out the difference in the amount of description to set this up. And I've always heard by reading screenplay magazines, not by ever having done the work myself, is you don't want to direct on the page, right? Paula, I guess, can you just unpack how you know how much to put on the page?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've heard you don't want to direct on the page, and I heard that you do. And I've heard both opinions from veterans, right? Not newbies. And I think sometimes you want to have an opinion, and it's okay to have a vision, and it's okay to direct on the page. But A, they don't have to follow it, obviously. And B, you don't want to make it boring to read, because even though you're writing this in hopes of someone producing it and filming it, it's still a written document, right? And the first thing it is something that someone is reading, and it can't be clunky and it can't lose them. Like, you still want the story and the emotion of the story and the excitement of the story to come through to those early readers. And if you are busy doing technical jargon and camera angles all the time, you lose the reader. You're losing the really important stuff that a story should have. So I think that's a lot of where don't direct on the page comes from. It's just don't bore your reader and don't make it overly technical and clunky.
What did you learn from your time on the television show that informed what you do in Flow, which is, as we talked about, is a different format? You've got a page turn. It's a visual story, but it is told in a different way. What did you learn from the one medium that informed Flow?
Wow. I mean, I'm sure many things. Well, one thing too is with a TV show, especially if it's written for network, but even if it's not for network, even if it's for a streamer, you have breaks, you have act outs, right? Usually your script has end of act 1, end of act 2, end of act 3, end of act 4 often. And those act outs have to be exciting. So those kind of function like page turns or issue enders. So you get a feel for that from writing for TV too. But also, I think one really big thing I learned, at least in the room I was in, and this is to Jeff's credit, is just focus on the emotion first, even though you have lots of plates in the air. And even though you're telling a story and there are a lot of plot points that have to be covered, don't forget why you're telling a story. It's to move people, right? It's to a reader or a viewer, whatever the medium is. You are wanting to get somebody to laugh or cry or just, be on the edge of their seat. So the emotion's what counts most, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. We got a question from our buddy in Australia. Are the descriptions more of a guide then?
In the TV, in the script, or the comic script, or is it, or both?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, again, I think it depends on how vital those details are to the story, right? If there's some kind of awful stereotype that character experiences all the time because of how they look, or that's just an example, then obviously those physical details need to be followed for a reason.
Oh, and here's a good one. How often do the writers of an indie comic join the writer's room or showrun if the book is adapted option? That's
unless that writer is a producer on the show, which often is the case. Unless that comic writer is brought in formally in some way, then they may not be there at all.
Yeah.
And when Flo gets made into a TV show, will you be producer, executive producer? What's your title going to be, Paula?
I would hope executive producer.
Or just wildly wealthy? Is that?
Yes.
I would take that too.
You would. You wouldn't mind if they had the leaf blower. It looks like, Mike. Are they still bombarding her with questions?
I think we used most of the questions up.
All right. Let's see if we can go deep into Paula's office. It looks like that is the area where you catch out of the corner of your eye something creeping up your window there on the left.
That's one of them. Yes, one of the windows.
I like the jauntily placed Evel Knievel Sports Illustrated there. Why Evel Knievel right there?
I have something brewing right now, a story idea that involves motorcycle stunt person. So a little inspiration going on.
I happen to have on my nightstand right now, I joke you not, Misery. I just started reading that. Is that the first book on the top of your stack there?
That is, yes. And I'd read it before, but that too is an inspiration. I like when I have a new idea and I'm thinking, oh, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I start pulling those things and putting them around me.
And that kind of remind you of maybe some touch points that you want to keep in mind as inspiration.
Yes.
So, will I like Misery? Is it good? It's good, right?
It is. It's very good.
It's very good.
You read it, Mike?
Oh yeah.
But you also read Dean R. Koontz, right? But so
I like Koontz, but I like King, and I don't know why you haven't read Misery since.
I will say the book has a lot more humor in it. Obviously, it's dark humor, but it has a lot of humor compared to the movie.
All right. So now we've got our product placement here. They paid you for this, right? You have product placement from Apple. They sponsor you.
Oh, sure. I thought you meant Mad. And I'm like, they do actually pay me, but
yeah, but not like that. Okay, so you got Mad
Comics.
Paying Comics. You got, what do you have? Mad Science, Wonder Woman. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, actually, I have been working on Mad, and this is the latest issue that just came. So I was looking at it. And Wonder Woman, that's just a notebook. It's blank inside, just a writer's notebook.
Paula, that's not just a notebook. That's a notebook with Wonder Woman on it.
Well, yeah, and it's lenticular too. So.
So even more so. As usual, you downplay, you're subtle. And all right, what else do we have here? We're looking at some stuff here.
Yeah, this is so weird. I've never looked at my desk on somebody's screen. Yeah, I have a thing for hands. I don't know why. I just have lots of random hands. And I have a little glow in the dark finger puppet guy. And he's kind of cool looking, but when I turn off the light, sometimes if I'm writing at night and he's glowing at me, it just delights me to no end.
All right. Well, this is cool. And then you're going to show us your bookshelves that overfloweth with paper and your action figures. Talk to us about what we're looking at here. And is this directly behind you? Yeah, it is, because I can see the whatever is diploma maybe behind you.
Yeah. Actually, that's a Writers Guild membership. They gave that to us framed, which I thought was a lovely thing to do. So.
Oh no.
There. And I am a proud member. But yeah, lots of just more Wonder Woman, a lot of photographs, tons of novels and graphic novels and memoirs, and just a whole, they're not organized in any good way at all. And this is actually, I had to whittle down. So I had a lot more books than this, but
yeah. Well, I'm sure when you work in the industry, I remember how much stuff when you worked at Wizard. In the first couple of weeks, you were taking tons of stuff. Not you specifically, but it's like, oh my god, look at all this free stuff, the free box. And then after a while, you're like, I'm gonna bring it back. And you find yourself bringing it back to the free boxes.
yeah, you read it and then you take it back.
You're
Right?
like, I can't have everything. And then you had some friends here.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the Fight Club reference earlier. These guys, I've shown these off before, but they're just so great. These were this Tyler Durden and the narrator guy from Fight Club. These were customs. So we had these at Toy Fair, and someone let me take them.
Don't tell me take them. Can I use the air quotes again, Paula?
I did not take them. I was gifted them by someone who I think was allowed to gift them, but I'm not. Let's just not talk about it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Your hands are clean. You were given a gift. That's all the time.
Yes, yeah.
You're not going to talk about Fight Club.
The first rule is you don't talk about Fight Club figures.
But they are great figures. But they're Miko size, right? Or even G.I. Joe size,
no,
right?
They're I don't know exact inches, but no, they're not. They're bigger than Migos.
They want to know if that girl is Marla Singer.
No, no, that is Laura Croft.
Yeah.
And the only reason she's there is because she's the same size. For one, she's the same size, so she fits on the same shelf as the other two. But also, I just got her during the Wizard years as well. The Tomb Raider movie came out, and so it was another freebie.
Now, Mike, when you finally are allowed to go back to your home and they fumigated it properly, will you put things up in the background, or will you keep that fake background up?
I don't know. I guess it depends. When I'm back at the house, you say my background is just boring, and it really is. I mean, it
looks like you're in.
It's just a blank wall. I mean, if I could go out to my garage and do this, where I would have a good internet signal, then it would be interesting to look at. But yeah, other than that, it's just a blank wall.
What's in your garage, Mike?
Well, then the garage is just, it looks nice. It's got, I got books on the shelf. I have video games. I got some board games. But over here, I got a grand piano. So this is, I think, pretty good. So
yeah, but Blank Stare even said, "Don't besmirch the grand piano."
That's right.
So Redheaded Ed only has a picture of a storage unit. So, all right, Paula, this is the moment where we will make your head the biggest in the whole group of ours, and we're going to ask you a question that we ask of every guest. Paula, what is one piece of advice that you wish you had received earlier in your career?
I think it would be to fail faster. And I know others have said this, fail faster, but I spent so much time worrying about being good enough to start writing more creative things. I thought once I got this degree in English, I would be qualified to be a writer. And then I got a graduate degree in English, and I thought I'll be qualified to be a writer. And then I wrote about other people's writing, book reviews and articles and essays that were also fun to do. But as far as actual original creative stories, it took me so long to commit to finishing a lengthy story and then write the next one. It just took so long because I was so afraid of being bad. And it's okay to be bad. In fact, it probably will be bad. And that's what revision's for. And that's what the next story's for. And so I would just, if I could do it over, I would just start sooner and fail fast to get better and keep going.
Nice. Hang on, I gotta do the.
Yeah, Mike, do the round of applause.
Oh, there you go.
Paula's used to getting rounds of applause at work, at home, everywhere. Just people.
Yeah. Ed, that's good advice.
That is good advice. Yeah, yeah, it is good advice. So, I'm going to pull this back up. So, Paula, they can find you and your growing empire at your website, paulasevenbergen.com. Love the design on this. What is it? Kenneth Nagel inspired.
Yes.
Cross links to some of your work, but they really need to go out to their local comic shop and make sure that Flo is on the shelves and ready for them pre-ordered, right?
That would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful.
Andrew asked, any advice for Buddy to not get his pitches?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead. Look at my body posture.
I think Buddy just has to find that idea that is undeniable, that he just can't not do.
There you go.
Go ahead. What else? I'm
and make it good.
And make it good. Oh,
there you go. See, that's good advice.
I always forget the last part, which is good. Paula, we're about to put you into the green room for a minute because we're almost out of time here. Mike, what did you stock the green room with to make sure that Paula has something nice?
It was a little kind of I was lax in the shopping, so I only got some dried seaweed, and there was a bottle of like unlabeled something that I put in the room just to see what it is.
And there's a note on it. It just says, "Trust me."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Paula, are you going to drink that?
I'll try it.
Got to give it a try.
All right. Well, if we don't see Paula anymore, this was a great show.
And this is like
that's really good.
Fish scented tissue paper.
Yes, it kind of melts in your mouth. It's on your tongue. Yeah.
Thank you for those.
I used to give those to my kids to punish them. I was like, be good or you get the seaweed tissue. All right, Paula, we're going to put you in the green room, but we're going to give you one last round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us. You were awesome. Keep up the great work. We're looking forward to seeing Flo. And that's it. Mike, give her the round of applause while we put her into the...
We got to wait till it cycles again. There we go.
You know, it's always amazing to me, people that we actually know becoming wildly successful and having had more talent than we knew because we just knew them as people and we would go to Taco Bell with them and they were just people and then they're wildly successful.
Yep. That's what happens when you move out to Hollywood.
Yeah. What is it? Great guest? Thanis?
Yeah. That's
Redheaded Ed wanted to say great guest. Hold on, put that back on. She said great guest. Thanks. I guess that's because you're part Dutch, so that was part of it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much for saying that.
Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night. We're looking forward to checking out Flo.